What's up, y'all? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. I'm happy to have you here. Keep showing up even when it feels like no one is watching. Keep creating when it feels like no one is watching. Keep producing when it feels like no one is watching. I was reflecting on this because honestly, I find myself making these videos and every now and again, I'll just stop and question God and be like, why? Like, what is the point? What is this all for? Why am I doing this? Am I still supposed to be doing this? Are you sure? Did I hear you right? Like, I'm questioning whether or not I should still be doing this because it doesn't look the way that I wanted it to look. What I expected versus what I'm experiencing don't seem to line up. So I wanted to talk about this because I feel like I'm probably not out here by myself. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people who don't get the reaction or the response that they were anticipating with whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's creating videos on YouTube or any social media platform, or doing something completely different where you begin to question whether or not you're actually supposed to be doing it because you didn't get the response that you wanted or you didn't get the outcome that you thought you were going to get at a certain period of time. Since this was so heavy on my heart, I was like, okay, I have to talk about it and just let somebody else know that you are not alone. We are in this together. Honestly, yes, I definitely have those moments where I'm questioning. I'm like, all right, Lord, like at this point, we're playing games. What are we doing? What's the point? Why am I doing this? But then I'm reminded of the assignment that God gave me. So it's not about the numbers. It's not about the analytics. It is simply about, am I being obedient? That has been one of the critical components of my life this year. If you've been watching my videos, then you know how important it has been for me to just be obedient to God. Because when it comes to the instructions that He's given me, for example, even just making this YouTube channel, I ran from that assignment for a while. So this year has been all about just being obedient when God tells me to do something, not questioning it, just doing it anyway. Well, I mean, honestly, I still do question it, but despite not having the answers that I want, still showing up anyway, because that is just having to trust God. And when He tells me to do something, I do it, even when it doesn't make any sense, because half the time it don't be making sense. And especially with this channel, didn't make any sense, but here I am. And so I'm constantly finding myself showing up, and even though the questions are still there, like, Lord, why, I'm still reminded of, you are on assignment. I told you to do this. You don't have to know why I told you to do it. You don't have to understand it. Lean not on your own understanding. Just do it because I said to do it. It will make sense later, but for now, just show up anyway. Even when it doesn't look the way that you thought it was gonna look. You thought this was gonna be your outcome. You thought this was gonna be your timing. You thought this is what you were going to get, and it doesn't look like that. So now you're questioning whether or not I gave you the instruction, but you don't need to question the instruction. I gave you the instruction. You don't have to worry about it. Mind you, obedience is our responsibility and the outcome is God's responsibility. So even though it doesn't look the way I thought it was going to look, that's okay. That's not my responsibility. And don't turn away from your assignment just because it didn't play out the way that you wanted or thought that it would. So when you're trying to figure out what it is that you need to be doing, you just need to go back to the last instruction that God gave you. God told me to post videos on YouTube. I didn't understand why, still don't fully understand why, but I just continuously show up anyway. And so sometimes when I feel like, Lord, what am I doing? And I start, questioning what I should be doing or if I should be doing this, I'm reminded that my last instruction was to post videos on YouTube. So even though I don't understand it, even though I question it, even though I have my moments where I'm fighting it, I'm still reminded of the instruction, and then I choose to show up anyway. Lean not on my own understanding and just trust that if God told me to do it, there's a reason that He told me to do it. It's not for nothing. And even if I don't get it, even if it's not the way that I would have chosen for it to happen, I'm just trusting in God. And that's just faith activated at that point. Your value does not equal the number of followers or subscribers that you have. Your value is not determined by the numbers. Your worth is not determined by what you do or who supports you or who doesn't support you. Your worth is already set in stone. Does it get discouraging sometimes? Yes. Do I start doubting and questioning it at all? Yes, sometimes. Do I want to just walk away from it and quit? Yes, I have those moments, but then I'm continuously reminded that the numbers do not equal my value. There is a reason that I am doing this. I am on assignment. I am being obedient to what God told me to do. I am putting my trust in God and saying that, Lord, you told me to do this. I don't know why, and it doesn't look the way I want it to look, but because you told me to do it, I'm just going to trust you, and I'm going to trust that it's going to work whenever it's intended to work. Even if not that many people are watching the videos, that doesn't mean that it's not working. It still is working, even if it is just one person. My friend and I always talk about this, how sometimes it literally just takes one person. That one person could be so inspired and transformed by the very thing that you obeyed God to do. So even if it's just one person, that's okay. And even if no person is watching your stuff, God is always watching you. So at the end of the day, show up anyway. And in due time, it will work. And I was thinking about this, like at first it was literally just going to be when nobody is watching. But then I had to check myself on that, because that's not the case. It's never that nobody is watching. Even if there's no person who's watching, God is watching. And sometimes we think that because we don't have a whole bunch of people watching it, that we just think that that means nobody is watching. But even if it is just one person, somebody is watching. Even if somebody doesn't click on the video itself, for example, if you're doing videos like I'm doing, even if nobody clicks on the video, they might click on your page and see that you're still constantly showing up. So even though they didn't watch the video, they still watching, and they're still being inspired, and they're still being motivated, whether they want to admit it or not. That's okay. It doesn't matter. But some people, just by seeing that you're showing up, are being inspired to just show up in whatever their thing is too. So don't discredit, even though it doesn't look like you got the numbers. It doesn't look like you have the views. I feel like we live in such a time where we kind of equate success to virality and popularity. How many views are you getting? You know, how many subscribers do you have? How many followers do you have? How many people have their eyes on what it is that you're doing? But that's not necessarily success. I mean, that could be a form of it, but it's not limited to that. So don't think that you're not being successful, or your videos are not being successful, or your channel's not being successful, or whatever it is for you. Don't think that you're not being successful because you're not reaching the numbers that somebody else might be reaching. You could be in a season where the time for you is simply to transform who you are, to be better at your craft, and not have the pressure of all these eyes watching you. Like, that might just be the season that you're in. And don't fight that, because every season has value. There's a time for everything. You could be in a season where everybody's got their eyes on you, and you could be in a season where it feels like nobody's got their eyes on you. But both seasons are equally valuable, equally important to your growth and your journey as a person. So honestly, just trust the process. Like, you are planting seeds. Every single time that you show up, you're planting seeds. And even if you don't see a huge harvest immediately once you plant that seed, just keep going. You will reap a harvest in due time if you faint not. So just keep showing up, keep pouring. It's gonna work. Okay, I've been talking about that lately. Like, it's gonna work. It's got to work. And I'm gonna keep speaking that, at least over my life. I receive it. And I just believe that if God told me to do it, it's not for nothing. So whatever it looks like, it might not look the way I thought it was gonna look. It might not work in the way that I thought it was gonna work. But that doesn't mean that it didn't work. Just continuously reminding myself that this is not for nothing. Even when I don't understand it, it's not for nothing. And a couple of scriptures that I found that I wanted to share. One is Proverbs 15:3, which says, "The eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good." God is always watching. You always have an audience at the end of the day. Even if it's not a whole bunch of people, that's all right. You still have an audience, so keep showing up. And then the other one is Deuteronomy 28, verses 1-2. It says, "Now it shall come to pass, if you diligently obey the voice of the Lord your God, to observe carefully all his commandments which I command you today, that the Lord your God will set you high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you, because you obey the voice of the Lord your God." So keep working on your craft. Keep obeying God. Keep doing what it is that he told you to do, and let him handle the rest. He will provide the blessings. He will show up. Even if it's not the way that you thought it was going to be, he is still paying attention. Nothing is wasted, and he will take it from there. I can't want increase so bad that I get ahead of the one who can give it, the one who has to give it. And this channel has taught me that there are going to be seasons where people are cheering loud and you've got a lot of traction, and then there's going to be seasons when it feels like it's just crickets and nobody's really paying attention, nobody's checking for you. It seems like nobody cares, and it can be discouraging at times, but each of those seasons is still so important. There's growth, there's transformation in all of those seasons. So embrace every single one. And sometimes your season might feel like a slingshot season, where it feels like you're being pulled backwards. It feels like you're not going anywhere. If anything, you're going back. But sometimes that's God pulling you back, because he's about to propel you forward in such a way that it's going to be exponential increase. You feel like you're fighting to go forward, but whole time God is the one who's actually holding you back. Not because he doesn't care for you, but simply because he's waiting for the perfect time when you're perfectly positioned to where he can launch you forward. So don't get discouraged by that either. Sometimes it feels like you're being held back, but that comes with a certain level of momentum and force that's going to be used to propel you forward in a way that would have taken you way further than if you would have tried to do it yourself. Don't run ahead of God. When God tells you to do something, you don't have to take matters into your own hands and try to make it happen for yourself. Like, God is still paying attention to you. When he tells you to do something, he's honoring the fact that you are being obedient, even when it doesn't look like what you thought it was going to look like, even when you're not getting the outcome that you wanted or that you were praying for or that you were hoping for. God is still paying attention. And so even if it has not happened for you yet, even if you have not reached your audience yet, just trust that God will expand your territory at the right time. And that makes me think of another scripture. It's Isaiah 60:22, which says, "A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in its time." God will make it happen in its time, and he can quicken it in its time. You don't have to chase the numbers and equate your numbers to your value. God has already given you value. He's already labeled you as valuable. And with this channel, for me, it might not always look the way that I want to look. It might not reach the numbers that maybe I was hoping that it would reach, but that's okay, because I can stop and just reflect that God has given me something to pour out. This is more than I could say for at the beginning of the year when I was too afraid to do this in the first place. God helped me to get over the fear of being seen and showing up and putting myself out there and not knowing all the answers. I still have committed to showing up on this channel, even when it feels like nobody's really paying attention, even when it feels like nobody cares, even when it feels like I'm not doing that great of a job at it. I still show up anyway because God told me to do that. And so in me showing up, I'm seeing how much God has poured into me that I've been able to pour out and share. And even if it doesn't seem like it's doing what I thought it was going to do or what I hoped it would do, you just never know who's watching. Sometimes it feels like, oh, maybe you only got a handful of people who are watching your stuff, but you never know who's in that handful of people, okay? It could be somebody with a level of influence that you've never even experienced in your life before. You don't know who's on the other end of the screen. You don't know who's on the other end of your obedience. So just keep going anyway. Even when you don't have all the numbers that somebody else has, that's okay. You don't need to have that, but just keep showing up anyway, because there's still value in you. There's still value in the things that you do. When God tells you to do it anyway. Even in the moments, it's okay. Like, we're human. We're gonna have those times where maybe we feel discouraged because we had a hope for something and it didn't seem to happen in the time that we hoped it was gonna happen. But that's okay. Like, we're human and we can feel the way that we feel, but we still show up anyway, because we know that God at the end of the day will make it work in due time. There's no force in it. There's no faking it. There's no manipulating the situation to push God out or run ahead of him. Just keep showing up in whatever area that is, whatever assignment that is for you, whatever calling that is for you. Just keep showing up even when you don't see why you're doing it, because God will hasten it in its time. As for me, I'm just gonna keep making my little YouTube videos. I'm gonna keep posting them. I'm gonna keep showing up, and I'm gonna keep pushing past the discouragement and the times where I feel like, okay, maybe this is just not for me. I'm going to keep speaking against all of those thoughts, and I'm going to keep pushing back and showing up anyway. And I'm going to keep patting myself on the back for that, because I'm proud of myself for showing up, even when it doesn't feel like people are engaging or wanting to hear what I have to say. It's okay. I'm still showing up, and I'm proud of that, because it is what it is. And when God wants me to have something, he will make it happen, and nothing will stand in its way. Alrighty, y'all, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.